Some children grow up believing something very dangerous. Not that they are unloved, but that love must be earned. So they try to be perfect. They behave. They achieve. They help everyone. They become the easy child, the responsible one, the one who never asks for too much. Because somewhere, very early in life, they learned a quiet rule. If I'm good enough, if I work hard enough, if I don't cause problems, then maybe I'll finally deserve love. And the strange part is, many of those children grow up into adults who still feel like they're trying to earn it, even today. Maybe that sounds familiar. Maybe you're the person who always tries harder than everyone else. The one who feels guilty for resting. The one who worries about disappointing people. And maybe deep down, there's a voice that quietly asks, am I doing enough to deserve being loved? But that voice didn't start in adulthood. It started much earlier. Imagine a child growing up in a house where love wasn't cruel, but it was conditional. Maybe their parents praised them when they got good grades. Look how smart you are. Maybe they were appreciated when they helped. You're such a good kid. Maybe they were noticed when they achieved something, when they won something, when they behaved perfectly, when they made their parents proud. But when they were sad, overwhelmed, or struggling, things felt different. Maybe their feelings were brushed aside. Don't be so sensitive. Stop crying. Others have it worse. Or maybe the house was simply too busy, too stressed, too distracted for their emotions. So the child slowly learns something without anyone saying it directly. Love appears when I perform. Love appears when I behave. Love appears when I make people happy. And slowly, they stop asking for love. They start earning it instead. Pause for a moment and think about that. What does a child do when they believe love must be earned? They become hyper-aware. They watch people carefully. They learn how to read moods, tones, expressions. They start asking silent questions. Is everyone okay? Did I do something wrong? What do they need from me? And before they even understand what's happening, they become the caretaker, the achiever, the one who carries invisible pressure, because to them, love feels like something fragile, something that can disappear if they stop trying. This is why many adults who grew up this way struggle with something they can't easily explain. They feel uncomfortable receiving love. When someone compliments them, they brush it off. When someone cares for them deeply, they feel suspicious. When someone loves them without conditions, it almost feels unfamiliar, because their mind learned a different rule. Love is something you work for. You prove yourself. You deserve it. And here's the painful part. This belief doesn't just stay in childhood. It follows people into friendships, into careers, into relationships. Think about the person who overworks themselves constantly. The one who feels guilty when they rest. They're not just chasing success. Often, they're chasing worth. Or think about the person who becomes a chronic people pleaser. They say yes when they want to say no. They avoid conflict at all costs. They bend themselves into shapes just to keep others comfortable. Not because they're weak, but because part of them still believes, if I disappoint people, I might lose love. And sometimes this belief shows up in relationships. Someone falls in love, but instead of relaxing into it, they start trying harder. They overgive, they overanalyze, they worry about being too much or not enough. They try to be the perfect partner, the perfect friend, the perfect person. And strangely, the more someone loves them, the more pressure they feel, because love still feels like something they need to maintain, earn, protect. But here's the twist most people don't realize. Children who grow up trying to earn love often become incredibly strong adults. They are thoughtful, empathetic, hardworking, reliable. They notice things others miss. They care deeply about people. They often become the emotional support for everyone around them. But inside, there is often a quiet exhaustion. Because trying to earn love never really ends. Until something changes, pause for a second and reflect. When someone is kind to you, do you feel grateful? Or do you immediately feel like you owe them something? When someone loves you, do you relax into it? Or do you start asking yourself how to deserve it? If those questions feel uncomfortable, you're not alone. Many people are slowly realizing something important. They were never supposed to earn love in the first place. Children aren't meant to perform for affection. They aren't meant to prove their worth. They aren't meant to carry the emotional responsibility of a household. Children are supposed to be loved simply because they exist, but if someone grows up without learning that, their adult life often becomes a long attempt to prove something that was never supposed to be proven, that they are worthy of love. But here is the quiet truth that many people discover later in life. Real love doesn't work that way. Real love doesn't keep score. It doesn't disappear when you make mistakes. It doesn't require perfection. It doesn't demand that you constantly prove yourself, and learning that can feel strange at first, even uncomfortable, because it means letting go of a role you may have carried for years, the achiever, the caretaker, the one who earns their place. But slowly, something begins to shift. You start noticing moments where people care about you, even when you're not performing, when you're tired, when you're quiet, when you're imperfect. And those moments can feel almost confusing because they challenge a belief that may have existed since childhood, the belief that love must be earned. But what if that belief was never true? What if the child who tried so hard all those years was already worthy? Not because they were helpful, not because they achieved things, not because they behaved perfectly, but simply because they were a child. And maybe, just maybe, the adult version of that child deserves the same kind of love now. Not earned, not proven, just given. And sometimes the most healing realization of all is this: you were never meant to work so hard to be loved.